Well, there it is. The Samurai SMR2 is ready for action for Season 2 of F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. So, we have a lot to get through before we get into the first race of the season. All this pre-season stuff. We've got driver transfers to cover and all the setup work in general for the second season. We've got a lot of money to spend. We've got some time here to perform some activities for the team. So, let's get through all of that, and then we will see the livery out on the circuit once we get to the first round, and of course we have a lot to look forward to this season. The car should be in pretty good shape heading into this season. Hopefully we can be straight away fighting for regular points in the midfield, hopefully decent points, not just the tail end of the points, but we have a lot to work on as well. With all the money we have, we can spend some on the facilities, so that should help us throughout the season with development, but we have to make sure we don't make the same mistake as last season and run out of money midway through the year and have to switch drivers to an F2 driver. But yeah, we'll hopefully avoid that issue. It's happened to me twice in the last 2 games, so yeah, let's just get into all the setup work for this season. So it makes sense to start with the calendar, so we'll do that. We're going to start the season off in Bahrain, then move off to Shanghai. Portimao will be round 3, first time on the calendar. We'll go to Canada, France, Austria, Great Britain, Spa in Belgium. We'll go to Monza in Italy, Sochi Autodrome in Russia. We'll go to Suzuka in Japan, Mexico, Brazil, and Australia, Saudi Arabia, and Abu Dhabi to end off the season, and that will be the calendar for this year. You can see our new helmets for this season. I think it looks pretty cool, and a new race suit, which I have since decided I will probably change to a different one. We'll see. I'm not sure if that will be sticking around for more than a couple of rounds. As for the sponsor, we're going to go for DSB Optics. Their target is to finish 3rd or better in the Constructors Championship, and with our rate of development last season, I think we can do that, so we'll go with them. We're going to be sticking with Honda Power as well, of course. And now you can see in the background we're doing a whole multitude of facility upgrades, way too many to list off, but we're just basically improving our facilities in every conceivable area. So as for R&D, we're going to go for a major fuel efficiency upgrade to the ECU. That should be on in time for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Now we fast forward through time, and we are immediately interrupted by a personnel department event.
Be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
So Yuki Tsunoda is feeling extra motivated today and wants to spend a few more hours training, so we can send him to the gym for more experience, or send him to the simulator for a boost in racecraft. We are going to go for the racecraft.
Not an easy decision, but you handled it well. Thanks.
So back to R&D then. We're going to go for an upgrade to the gearbox reliability testing. We're going to go for an upgrade to the MGUK reliability testing as well, to improve the durability of a few of our components. We're also going to go for a motor speed upgrade to the ERS, and that will give us a little bit more juice to play with during the race. We will also do a major DRS upgrade that will also be on in time for the Portuguese Grand Prix. We have another department event in the personnel facility. This time our regular simulator driver has had some medical issues, needs a surgery. They'll be fine, blah blah blah. The point is we need Tsunoda to step in and make up for lost time, but that will have a significant negative impact on his focus, but it will give us 750 resource points, so it is worth considering. If we decline, it changes nothing, and I think this is probably one of the hardest decisions yet in a department event. 750 resource points, that is significant. That's, you know, an upgrade or maybe even 2 cheap ones, but do I really want to have that big of an impact on Tsunoda's focus? His focus is already very low, so we don't want to be making it any worse. So I think we're going to have to decline this one and give up the resource points, unfortunately.
Thanks for dealing with that. The departments appreciate it.
Now I think it's finally time we took a look at some of the driver transfers for this season. There weren't a lot, but there were some very interesting ones. Obviously we took Yuki Tsunoda from AlphaTauri. They have replaced him with another Japanese driver, Nobuharu Matsushita, of course our teammate for the first half of Season 1. We look down to the Haas team, and they have replaced Nikita Mazepin with Valtteri Bottas. So Haas looking to get some experience on board, and I'm sure Bottas will be a great driver for them. Who knows, maybe he can even grab a few points here and there on a good day for the team, because they really struggled in Season 1. But that leads into the most interesting change of all of this. If Bottas left Mercedes, who joins? Well, Nikita Mazepin has made the move to Mercedes. I can't believe this. What's occurred in the background? What parts of the game code is this activated to make this happen? I think Mazepin was last in the championship, or certainly in the bottom few positions. But that was enough for Mercedes. They said, "Yep, we'll sign this guy up. He looks interesting. It looks like a good driver." So yeah, that's what's happened. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out, how Mazepin goes at Mercedes, what Bottas can do with Haas if he can get some good results for them, what Matsushita can do at a different team. He did score a point with our team, I believe, so who knows, he might go well with AlphaTauri if he can work well with Pierre Gasly. A few interesting things heading into this season. Actually, maybe Mazepin went to Mercedes. That's part of the Mercedes master plan, because last year Bottas took a lot of points away from Hamilton. They almost finished even on points. I think Hamilton only outscored Bottas by 1 in the final standings. So maybe this is part of the Mercedes plan to make sure Hamilton scores more points this year. If he has a teammate with a much lower rating, then he won't have to worry about his teammate taking points away from him. Maybe that's what the plan is. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's focus on what is more important. Bahrain is now upon us, and we can finally have a chance to see our car out on the circuit and see what it can do in anger. And we'll have a first look at the R&D chart as well in just a moment. So without further ado, let's just get into the race weekend and get started with the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Hey, welcome to the start of the new season. So, I'll be straight. We've not done as well as we should have at maintaining performance through the regs change. So we're going to be playing catch up a bit. That's going to put some pressure on you, but the whole team's behind you.
Alright, so there you can see the R&D chart, and you can see Red Bull taking a big dip in performance. So Mercedes have a big advantage heading into this season. We've taken a bit less of a dip than Red Bull. And AlphaTauri taking a dip as well, so it must be a Honda engine thing maybe. We've lost a bit of power, we'll see. But we have a lot of work to do then, and that starts here in practice. We need maximum resource points, so let's just get started.
Laps under our belt.
Fire up this car for the first time. Here we go then. We've got a new Halo sticker as well. We had the rainbow before for the Wii Races one rainbow thing, but yeah, we've got a new one. I can't remember what it's called, but you can see it there anyway, as we immediately go in a bit deep and have a bit of a moment on the exit straight out of pit lane on lap number 1 of the season. But we're all good. We can keep going and get a feel for the car around this circuit as we have a little look at the replay, and you can see the car much better than before on these replay cameras. I love the look of this thing, this livery. I am very, very happy with it. I'd say probably on par with the one I created for Season 2 in the previous game. Maybe even better. I'm not sure, but I love it. So that's awesome.
Okay, test complete, and that was a very good job indeed.
But yeah, we had no problems during practice. But here's the results of practice 1. Danny Rick leading the way for McLaren, so he's showing great pace, as is Sebastian Vettel for Aston Martin, Sergio Perez for Red Bull, Tsunoda going well, Mazepin in the Mercedes going well, faster than Lewis Hamilton, although Hamilton was on the medium compound tyres. but it is only practice one, so we won't look into that too much. But I thought that was a fairly interesting little look at the results sheet there of FP1. But yeah, I think it is time now that we finally got into the weekend proper and got into qualifying after we get a drag reduction upgrade. So Q1 and Max Verstappen tops the session, so no sign of Red Bull's lack of pace. Sergio Perez backing him up in 4th position. Fernando Alonso up in P2, so the Alpine's looking good, at least in Q1. We're doing okay. We get through in 10th position, ahead of Nikita Mazepin, the new Mercedes driver. Antonio Giovinazzi getting through as well. Good job by him. Tsunoda gets through, so that's great. With George Russell, Nobuharu Matsushita, Valtteri Bottas, Kimi Räikkönen, Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi knocked out, so no huge surprises there. The Haas, the Williams, Matsushita in the AlphaTauri, which is not a great car this year, as well as one of the Alfa Romeos. So yeah, no real surprise and knockouts. Matsushita probably still getting up to speed in that car. I think soon enough he'll be able to get out of Q1. Especially if they improve that car, but right now it's not really in a good place, is the AlphaTauri. But anyway, focusing now on our Q2 lap, because this is the best one that I set throughout qualifying, and you can see a little bit wayward through the middle sector, but so far the lap coming together okay, and not losing too much time there. So as we continue to push on through, I will say the car was feeling amazing this weekend. I felt more comfortable in the car than I have for a very long time, so that is great signs for the promise of this year. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out. But yeah, at the moment I'm feeling very, very happy in this car, so hopefully that is a good sign for this qualifying session. Hopefully we can bring home a decent result. It'll be a question of whether we can get into Q3 or not in this first round, I think. And that'll be quite telling for the rest of the season. So as we come around the final 2 corners, we're about to find out as we head towards the finish line. DRS open towards the line. Will we get into Q3 when we go fastest?
That was the fastest lap
in Q2, and that sticks at the end of the session. Danny Rick second, but we actually get fastest by just over a tenth. So nothing too crazy, but yeah, I think potentially we've got the difficulty set down a little bit low, and unfortunately that means unfortunately in this particular game that we can't actually change it mid-qualifying anymore. So we actually have to just sort of deal with it, and the way I've kind of artificially increased the difficulty, if you like, is I'm doing my Q3 lap on a set of scrub tyres to even the odds a bit, and sort of put the car back where I think it should be, because we're not the fastest car. We shouldn't get pole position, if that makes sense. So I'm doing this lap on a scrub set of tyres just to artificially put the difficulty around about where it should be. But unfortunately the lap itself was not a very high quality lap.
You're now in P7.
And yeah, we go P10 in the end. So yeah, that's unfortunate. 2 positions ahead of our teammate Tsunoda. He'll be starting in 12th. He was knocked out in Q2, but another surprise knockout in Q2, which I didn't actually mention at the time, was Nikita Mazepin. So Mercedes may have a struggle this season.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best at turn 1 of course, and then another soon into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Anthony Davidson is with me today as we get another year of Formula One underway.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice, and they've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and talented Spaniard Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Vettel, Fernando Alonso and Perez, Norris, Verstappen, Leclerc and the scientist, Mazepin, Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly and Stroll, Ocon, Giovinazzi, George Russell and Nobuharu Matsushita, Raikkonen, Bottas, Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Alright, so here we are on the grid then for the first round of Season 2. The strategy will probably be a two-stop. By the look of that, it will be the two sets of the softest compound available, and then finishing the race on the mediums. I had a look at some other options as ever, but nothing really looked any good, so that is what we are going to go with as we now get ready to go to the 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the first race of the season, and it's an okay start for us as we head down towards the first corner for the first time, trying to find some space. Yuki Tsunoda with a fantastic start, and he's going to go for a big dive down the inside. He's given some space by Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso there as well. As we're side by side with the Red Bull car, we get pushed wide out on to the runoff. Across the gravel we go, but we managed to keep things under control as up the road Yuki Tsunoda is fighting off Fernando Alonso as they run side by side. Yuki Tsunoda, one of the youngest drivers on the grid, versus one of the oldest and most experienced with 2 world championships to his name, and Yuki Tsunoda round the outside through the middle sector is going to hold off Fernando Alonso and take the position. We managed to hold off the Red Bull car there of Sergio Perez, as well as the Mercedes and Nikita Mazepin. So we're doing a fair share of holding up some cars ourselves, but unfortunately in that little turn 1 clash with the Red Bull cars,
Mind that front wing. It'll need replacing if it takes too much damage.
we did damage our front wing, so we're actually going to have to box on this first lap of the race as we go a bit wide through turn 11, and we're just taking it very cautiously as Sergio Perez gets through, and now Mazepin is right behind us, so we'll need to watch out for him as well.
Confirmed. We'll receive you at the end of this lap.
As yeah, we now need to stop at the end of this lap, but first we'll have a look at that start from Yuki Tsunoda. How on earth did he manage that so well? It was really in the second phase of the start. He just got amazing acceleration, charge down the inside. A very good job by Vettel there to see him coming and not turn down and cut him off there. So fair play to Vettel for leaving the space. But anyway, we need to make our stop onto another set of soft compound tyres and to put a new front wing in our car because the old one is broken. So new wing on the car, and I don't know what the strategy is going to be at this point. I'm guessing it'll still be a two-stop, but
Only 1 stop to go. 1 stop left in this strategy.
no, apparently not. Apparently we can get to the end on one more stop onto medium tyres much later in the race. So yeah, the tyre wear maybe isn't actually too bad around here in Season 2.
We'll be doing 1 more stop today. 1 stop left in our strategy. Pit window opens in 19 laps time. 19 laps.
19 laps, so it'll be a 30-something lap stint to the end, which will be quite a long one. But we're going to have a look at the start on board with Nikita Mazepin because he actually had a great view of what happened down at turn 1. He made a good start and went to the outside. As you can see, the 2 Red Bull cars going side by side. We're just on the right there. You might be able to see, there we go, and 3 wide into turn 2, and Sergio Perez going a little bit wide. We go very wide, and Mazepin tries for a move up the inside. We didn't actually see this earlier on we were focusing on Tsunoda, but Mazepin not really able to get the move done and ends up slotting in behind Sergio Perez, and we have to try and hold them all off through here. Now is around about when we went back on board with ourselves, and we really actually turned in quite harshly on Sergio Perez there. And Mazepin has a bit of a run here. He's going to try and have a look. Oh, Mazepin was so close to going for the dive there, but he decided to bide his time and wait for a better opportunity. Look at Perez. He is trying so hard to get past. Mazepin had to think about going to the middle there as well, but Mazepin being very patient at the moment. But you can see the frustration of these two drivers as they're being held up. There's not much we can do about it. We've got a broken front wing, but we don't want to just pull off the road and let them all pass, because that's going to take forever. It'll cost us way too much time, so it's a bit of a tricky situation. But here's one final replay of what happened down at turn 2, and yeah, you can just see we turned in. There were 2 Red Bull cars on the inside, and that sent us wide, to put it simply. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but anyway, we get back on board with ourselves much later in the race, and we do catch up to the back of the pack once again. The first car we catch up to is Valtteri Bottas, and we're trying to line up a move as we open the DRS, and we should be able to get this one fairly easily as we head down towards the first corner, starting the 15th lap of the race, and we get through on Sergio Perez. Next up is Nobuharu Matsushita, our old teammate in the Alpha Tower. We go for a nice little move up the inside and get ahead of the Japanese driver.
Brilliant. Nice move.
And move ourselves up into 18th position. Next up is, well, that was a bit of a awkward move there, but we go down the inside of Mick Schumacher, and we should be able to get this one done as we just about squeeze through on the inside as we go through the final couple of corners and get ahead of Mick Schumacher. Now Matsushita is going for a move on Mick Schumacher. He's going to be able to get this done. They're going to run side by side down towards the first corner. Can Matsushita get through and back ahead of Schumacher? I think he started ahead of Schumacher, but lost a few places off the start, but he does get it back and move himself ahead of the German as we go for a big dive down the inside of Nicholas Latifi there and get ahead of the Williams car and bring ourselves back up into some clean air as Yuki Tsunoda is actually now leading the race with pit stops being made by some of the cars around him. So it's artificial because he still needs to make more pit stops in this race, but still cool to see Yuki Tsunoda in the race lead at the moment as Lance Stroll retires with a mechanical failure. A lot of smoke coming out of the back of that Mercedes engine, so that's not great signs for the Mercedes power unit. They might be very, very powerful, but it's worth nothing if they can't make it to the end. And speaking of which, that's Nikita Mazepin also with an issue in a Mercedes powered car, the Mercedes powered Mercedes, and Mazepin's out of the race as well, so that's a disaster. And Mercedes will be very concerned about their reliability this season. That is very grim news for Mercedes and their affiliated teams. But anyway, we continue on, and as pit stops are made by everyone else, we actually move ourselves up into 5th position. So with that super early stop, we've effectively just got a mega undercut, and spending so much time in clean air, not fighting anyone, has really served us well. A mistake there and we drop a spot to Lando Norris, but we have put ourselves in a great position in this race, and well, better than where we qualified really, so we are in a good place. But our final stop does come very early because these soft tyres that we're on are pretty much worn out, and we need to put new medium tyres on the car that will take us to the end, and hopefully we will still have some form of decent pace
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
by the end of the race, but it'll be tricky to see how it goes. But anyway, we go very aggressive out of the pit lane to try and hold off Antonio Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo. I could hear him coming, so I went very late on the brakes down into turn 1, kind of similar to what we did on our very first outlap. So we rehearsed that one in practice, but Giovinazzi not able to get through and has to sit behind. But we continue on, and we're putting the pressure on Sergio Perez, who's down the order in this one. I think he actually has a bit of damage to his car that they're either yet to fix or they're not going to fix, but
We're trailing our teammate by 16.6 seconds.
Yeah, Sergio Perez struggling in this one because of that damage, and you can see at the moment he's stuck behind George Russell, so hopefully we can have a bit more luck and overtake the Brit much sooner than Sergio Perez was planning. So here we go on the next lap. We're going to go for a look to the inside, no, to the outside of George Russell, and we will get ahead of the Williams driver and bring ourselves up into currently 12th position. Continuing on again then, and we go for a late move on Esteban Ocon, and we get it done. But I don't think Ocon was seeing that coming. I didn't see it coming. I was just a little bit too late on the brakes, and I had to switch to the inside to make sure we didn't cram into the back of him. But we did manage to avoid contact. I think Ocon did hit our right rear with his front wing, left rear with his front wing. So I'm not sure if we got damage from that. But
P10, good. That's put us up into a point-scoring position.
We get past Kimi Raikkonen there, and he immediately makes a pit stop. So that was we're always going to clear him. Anyway, we now catch up to Fernando Alonso, and he too makes a pit stop right as we catch up to him. So that brings us up and into 9th position as things stand. So we're looking good for points because we don't have another stop to make, and as we continue on, we move all the way up into 2nd position. The only car ahead of us is Lewis Hamilton, and he has been leading this race with pretty much no challenge throughout the entire thing, with Mazepin out and the Red Bulls having some issues down at the first corner. Hamilton has had a pretty free ride out in front, so it has been smooth sailing for him, but for us, we have had a pretty rough race, and we're still sitting up in 2nd position. So I'm very happy with how this one's going, but Daniel Ricciardo is coming to spoil the party as the Aussie goes down the inside, and to be honest, we're not actually going to fight him. I want to get to the end of the race and cross the finish line in the fastest amount of time possible, because there is more cars than just Ricciardo coming, and I don't want to waste time fighting cars that are going to get past anyway. So
You have P3.
P3 is still our best result if we can hold on to it. But this is what I mean. You can see Sebastian Vettel catching up, as well as Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris. These three are the danger men. These three are the trio of cars we really need to be concerned about in this race. So let's just push as hard as we can, and hopefully we can keep them at bay. But it's not gone well through turn 10, and Vettel's down the inside into turn 11. We're going to try and hold it around the outside or switch it back maybe, but we just can't really make anything work, and Vettel is through and up into 3rd position. Can we do anything in response to the German, who's now running in the podium places? We're almost pushing him through, as we're going to have a nice slipstream along the run to the final corner. We're going to make a move to the inside. We're going to try and get there, and we will actually just lift out of it a little bit just to make sure that Vettel takes the DRS line, and then we will open DRS along the main straight and get back past him here, and that will be the plan that will get us back ahead with relative ease as we go to the outside, and we'll be able to sweep around here. Vettel's on the sharper line. He won't be able to carry any speed through there, and we get back ahead of Sebastian Vettel and back up into 3rd position. But still a long way left in this race, so we've got to watch out for Vettel and as well as Sainz and Norris, because they are looking very quick as well. We continue on again then, and Vettel flies straight past, this time on the main straight, so it's going to be difficult this time for us to come back at him, but we'll do our best along these 2nd straight. So here we go then. Can we line up a good exit here? A bit of wheel spin, and that's really cost us, because we're a long way now behind Vettel. We just could not get the power down very efficiently there, and now we are actually vulnerable to the group of cars behind Carlos Sainz, looking around for a move potentially, as we head now through the middle sector, a bit caught up on the curb there in a slide, and we managed to save it thankfully enough, but we had a little bit of an issue there, and Sainz was having a look up the inside. He didn't end up making the move stick. We're going to go on board with Sainz now, and he really sent it and actually made a bit of contact there. So I don't know if Sainz has got damage. Judging by how slowly he's going through the right-hander there, I'd say he does. So Sainz has just thrown away a good result here by going a little bit too aggressive there and trying to take that opportunity. But So we continue on, we go around the outside of Sebastian Vettel and retake the position as we now move back up into third. So this is turning into a very heated fight between myself and Vettel. We have relatively similar pace, so it is a great scrap between us, and it's back and forth, depending on who has DRS really.
DRS will be offline. There's a fault with the rear wing system. Stay out, we can work on a fix remotely.
And I had to mention that because now our DRS has failed, so if Vettel gets in front now, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to retake the position. So we need to stay ahead. That's a solid fact now. We cannot lose this position to Vettel or we will not get it back. So we need to be very, very careful about this. Right now he's not close enough to make the move, so we don't have to worry too much, but we have to be very, very careful and not make any mistakes throughout.
To the car in front is 6.6 seconds.
Throughout the rest of this race. There's not long to go, so I think we could be on for a podium, but we just need to make sure we minimize any form of mistakes and make sure we do not let Vettel through. So as we continue on then to the last few laps, up on the curb and a spin, round and around we go, but we managed to keep it going, but Vettel is through and we lose the podium with just 3 laps to go.
Stay on form.
Well, not even that. 2 laps and a sector to be exact about it. We managed to keep it going and not hit any walls, not damage the car, and to be honest, that did look pretty cool as we go for another little slide on the exit curb there in the 3rd sector, but Vettel had a good view of it too, and we didn't even drop that far behind Vettel, but
This is your final lap of the race.
that's cost us a chance of a podium. We're still vaguely within range of Vettel. Is there anything we can possibly do here? We're still fairly close. Maybe there's still a chance we can get on the podium. Our DRS is still unavailable. We don't have the luxury of that. Otherwise, I'd be a bit more optimistic about our chances. But you can see through the 1st sector, it's a green 1st sector, so we're gaining time on our personal best. So maybe we can do something here if we push really, really hard. Bit of an awkward line through the middle sector though, and that's not really helped us out at all, as we're still losing time to Sebastian Vettel. Even if we are getting the lines right, we just don't quite have the pace. I think Vettel now is starting to deploy all the battery he has at his disposal, and we just can't keep up with the German. He's getting further and further in front, and I think we're going to have to settle for 4th position in this one, unfortunately. So I think Vettel has done enough at this point. There's really only one good overtaking opportunity left. But up ahead, Lewis Hamilton has led a dominant race. He wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. The first race of the season goes to Lewis Hamilton, and we are going to come across the line in 4th position. It's a personal best.
At the end of the race, we'll see you in Parc Fermé.
But it could have been a podium if things went a little differently. But that's the way it is. I'll certainly take it. Race 1 of the season in the books, and it's a fairly decent one.
Smiling faces on the pit wall after a superb win here at Sakir. And rightly so. What a brilliant effort from the whole team. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
So Lewis Hamilton wins the first race of the season. Daniel Ricciardo takes 2nd position with Sebastian Vettel in 3rd.
Lewis Hamilton takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after an excellent result. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
I have to give it to the scientists. They did a great job at getting the most out of their tyres without losing pace, something that's a very handy skill to have in modern day Formula 1.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors Championship. McLaren supplant the previous leaders, taking control of the championship. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
Well, as I mentioned, I'm reasonably happy with that one. We definitely could have finished third, especially without the DRS failure. That really hampered our progress, but at the end of the day, I can't really blame that when we had the spin on our own. I wonder what we could have done without the turn 1 incident, or turn 2 incident on the first lap. If I genuinely wonder if that actually helped our race, because there were no safety cars, nothing aided our race in any way. We just ran in clean air the entire time and managed to put in plenty of solid laps when there were no cars around, and by the time that we got to the end of the race we were still in a good position. So it's interesting. Maybe that's something to consider in the future, to make sure we always have clean air around us. That might be the most important thing, but we'll have to see what situations that is actually applicable to. But it's just looking at delivery again on this replay, I still love it. It's just the shapes in it, the designs just look really cool. So yeah, I am very happy with this one. It just looks awesome. So yeah, props to Codemasters for creating these liveries, because some of them are very cool. But yeah, we're third in the Constructors Championship, 12 points away from McLaren, who lead the way after Ricciardo had that second position, and Norris was up quite high as well. So yeah, there's the moment there that caused the damage to Carlos Sainz. You can just see getting a little bit caught up on the right hand side curve there. But, anyway, that is enough of that. We've got more stuff to get through before the end of the episode, so we'll get through all of that. Oh, actually, here comes the spin. Oh, we get the slow-mo. Nice. That's actually a really cool shot. That's awesome. It's not very often the replay cameras in this game do something that cool, so that was good actually. But anyway, alright, let's get into the post-event stuff. So that brings an end to the Bahrain Grand Prix weekend. We did choose a rival. Our rival is Lance Stroll. He didn't finish, so he did not score many points in the way of the rivalry. But anyway, nonetheless, we do and move way ahead in that. But you can see our sponsor money is quite massive now, coming in after each race. So that's cool too, assuming we can pass all the relevant objectives. But we actually have a little bit of stuff to do between now and the next race. We need to potentially renew a sponsor or sign a new one, so let's do that. So we are going to sign a new sponsor, and we're going to go over this one, Asiatic Dynamics. Asiatic, whatever they are. Their goal is to score 20 Constructors Championship points in the Grand Prix weekend, so that should be reasonable enough. That's around a 4th and a 6th place finish will get us across that line, so I think we can do that. I think that's a reasonable goal, especially with the car improving over the next few races. I think we should be able to do that at most rounds, so that is the one we will go for. So the activity timeline is pretty simple, really only time for one event, so we're going to do the reaction training for Yuki Tsunoda to improve his awareness and focus. And now we have another department event in the personnel department. We have a columnist from Popular Health and Fitness magazine. They want to follow Yuki Tsunoda's daily workout routine and follow it up with some questions, blah 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 blah. It'll be a distraction So we're going to say no. We want Tsunoda to be as focused as possible. So yeah, we're going to sacrifice the acclaim we would get for accepting it to work on his focus, because Tsunoda's focus is not high enough at the moment. He's not had a good time in Season 1, so we really want to boost his focus as much as possible.
Not an easy decision, but you handled it well. Thanks.
And on the topic of focus, I thought I'd have a little quick look at where Tsunoda's focus is at. It's currently at 69, so he's no longer in the red zone that he was in when we first signed him. So he's already feeling much better and in a much better mindset than where he was when we first signed him onto the team. But as we go through, we actually did that activity that boosted his focus yet again, and that boosted up to 71, which is even better. But you can see his overall rating is 87, his pace is 90, so he has a very high potential. If we can get that focus stat boosted up as high as possible, he will be able to do some pretty special things, I think, in our car. So hopefully that is something we can look forward to over the rest of the season, because our car pace is looking very good. I'm very optimistic about this season after that first race. I was a bit worried seeing the big dip in performance, but honestly I actually don't think it's that bad. It's not as bad as it looks on the R&D performance chart. We're still among the upper midfield, I think, in terms of our car pace, and I think we still maybe have a bit of way to go to be fully competitive with the McLarens, Ferraris, but they've really closed up to Red Bull as well. So once we catch them, all of a sudden, I think we'll all sort of collectively be in a fight for the podium, basically. But yeah, other than that, then there's not much else left to cover. So I'll say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments, and I will see you next time. See you later, alligator.